Photography doesn't just show us the world, it shows us ourselves. Our borders, our boundaries, our belonging. But what happens when those borders vanish? What does it mean to be without a country, a language, or a home? Few photographers have lived those questions and turned them into images. But few are like JOSEF Kudelka. This is episode 5 of Street Study. Born in 1938 in Moravia, Czechoslovakia, JOSEF Kudelka grew up in a world scarred by war and shaped by regimes. A quiet child with a deep love of music, he initially pursued a career in aeronautical engineering. But photography, that would become his true language. He started in theater photography, photographing rehearsals, performances, and backstage moments. But the stage was too small for the questions he was carrying. And then, everything changed. August 1968. Soviet tanks rolled into Prague. Kudelka, camera in hand, documented the invasion with raw urgency. These weren't just photographs, they were evidence. He smuggled the images out of the country, and they ended up becoming published anonymously by Magnum under the initials PP. These photographs would go on to win the Robert Capa Gold Medal. But Kudelka, he didn't bask in the fame. He fled, not just from Czechoslovakia, but from identity, from safety, from home. My work has no theme. I don't care if my photographs get published, and I have no interest in the news. But the invasion of Prague was not news. It was my life. For the next decades, Kudelka lived in exile. No fixed address, no studio, just a bag and a camera. He photographed gypsies, ruins, and wounds, not just in people, but in the land itself. He wandered Europe, never staying in one place for too long, and always searching for something beyond documentation, something sacred and unspoken. His photographs feel like relics, timeless yet haunting. His Gypsy series captured a disappearing way of life, not romanticized, but seen with dignity, with care, and with respect. Exiles, another major body of work, and perhaps his most personal, it's less about subjects and more about displacement, psychological, emotional, and spiritual displacement. He's not seeking comfort in these photos. He seeks truth in them. And sometimes that truth is lonely. Kudelka's black and white work in Exiles is characterized by deep, rich contrast and a masterful use of natural light. He favored Leica cameras for their discretion and reliability, and often shot with a wide-angle lens, so he could capture both his subjects and their surrounding emptiness. His black and white processing was deliberate and stark. Heavy shadows and bright highlights created a sense of drama while maintaining the documentary feel of his images. And the grain structure in his prints, they add texture and an emotional depth to scenes of displacement and isolation. But perhaps most striking was his framing. Kudelka frequently positioned his subjects at the edges of the frame. This was more than just an aesthetic choice, it was also a philosophical one, using the negative space to emphasize their isolation. And then in his later work, particularly his landscape photography, Kudelka embraced the panoramic format. He created sweeping vistas that stretched reality into contemplative bands of space and time. In Kudelka's hands, the horizon becomes a character. The silence between things becomes the subject. There's no hiding in his photos, not for his subjects, or for the viewer. He doesn't clutter his frames with context. He gives you space and asks you to sit with it. The distance is the point. And like all of Kudelka's work, the technique serves the feeling. The images shown in Exiles, they seem to emerge from some liminal space between documentation and dream. Each of these frames carrying the weight of history and human experience. His wandering wasn't just physical, it became his visual philosophy. JOSEF Kudelka changed how we think of space in photography. Where many photographers fill the frame, he clears it. Where others tell stories, he poses questions. His influence can be felt in contemporary landscape and street photography. But more than his style, Kudelka taught us something deeper. That photography is a way of surviving, of holding on to something when everything else is stripped away. I try to be a photographer. I cannot talk. I am not interested in talking. If I have anything to say, it may be found in my images. That ethos, that devotion, bleeds through every frame. In an era obsessed with speed, trends, and image making, Kudelka's work stands still, and it listens. Because sometimes the most powerful photographs are the ones that remind us of everything we've lost. And yet, they still offer us something to hold on to. Big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Recently on my website, I added a new page that has a variety of different books that I own and highly recommend to all of you. All the books from my street study series can be found in here. Creating a page like this was incredibly seamless to do, using Squarespace's templates and customization tools. Squarespace has truly become a one-stop shop for everything around my photography business, from my blog to my digital store, and of course, a curated professional display of some of my favorite photographs. If you're interested in checking out Squarespace for yourself, you can visit squarespace.com/Faisal and use the link Faisal to get 10% off your first purchase.